ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year, a title reserved for elite HBCU marching bands. A season-long competition that culminates in Atlanta on Friday, December 12th. Drum majors, percussion, drill, auxiliaries, musicality. All aspects will be examined by the toughest judges in the world of college bands. 4 will qualify for the big stage, where national champions will be crowned. Follow us on social media for rankings updates throughout the season. And join us in Atlanta on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. We will open it up for questions, and let me start by introducing the chairs, as Mr. Grant had alluded to. We will like to introduce Professor Dow Taylor, who's a Battle of the Bands co-chair. He is the Jackson State University Sonic Boom Director of Bands Emeritus and current arranger of the infamous Sonic Boom Get Ready. We also have Dr. James Oliver, who is the Band of the Year High School Chair. He's a president director of the award-winning Alabama State University Marching Band, and he's been a Band of the Year committee member since 2024. Of course, Mr. Don Roberts, who's executive Band of the Year and ESPN Events. He's also a retired music supervisor for DeKalb County Schools, former band director of Southwest DeKalb High School Band, as well as director and CEO of the international stage production and entertainment company Drumline Live. So we'll now open it up for questions. Again, please use the raise your hand feature, and I'll call you in order. And of course, please turn on your camera to ask your question. We'll start with Dr. Christy Walker. Thank you.
Hi, thank you all for having me and having this press conference. The question that I want to ask, and I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it out there, bring out the elephant in the room. It was made aware that the number one bands in their division were not chosen. North Carolina A&T and Virginia State. And so, the consensus of the bandhead public, I would say, is that we were all thinking that the number 1 and number 2 bands, when the November poll came out, a lot of us assumed that they would be the ones chosen. So could you all talk to what your selection process was and talk about why and how the number 1 bands in their divisions were not chosen?
Walker, let me ask, who are you directing your question to?
Oh, that would be to, let's see, Dr. Oliver, and let's see, I would say maybe Dr. Oliver. That's what I'm looking at on here. And maybe Mr. Grant too.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, yes. Good. Well, to answer that question, it is actually written down that we would decide on the top 5 bands. We throw out the numbers once all bands has been calculated, and the adjudicators have already sent information in. We decided that the 5 bands that make the top 5 will be the bands that we will select from. And we wanted everyone to understand that after you've gone through the process, we're going to pick the top 5. And I keep saying top 5 because that's what we did. We're going to pick the top 5. So all the numbers, whatever the numbers are, have been thrown out because we wanted the top 5 to be a part of this great opportunity. So we talked about it with the committee, and we looked at everything. And from the past, we looked at everything. And remind you, this is year 3 for us. We're still working. We're still making things happen. But in order to be fair about putting these top 5 together, we want to just give everybody that opportunity in the top 5. So I'm hoping I'm answering your question, but it was all sent out, and we talked about it, and we already said that the top five would be where the committee, will select from that particular number of the top five bands that actually made it to the top five, that we're going to select them. We're going to select one out of that top five. So it wasn't a number one, a number two, a number three, number four, number five. It was the number of the top five that we would select.
If I could add to that as well, can you guys hear me okay? Can you
Yes.
guys hear me? Okay. All right. If I could ask you that, this is Don Roberts, band consultant for the band of the year. To just add on to what Dr. Oliver stated, we just felt very strongly about the top five. We feel like the number five band was just as good as the number one band. We feel like the number four band was just as good as the number two band. In the November poll, there were 7 points that separated the top five bands. And from on our part, this is not a surprise to the band directors. We have pushed this diligently to the band directors for the last few years. But maybe we didn't do as good a job to the public as we could have. And that's something that we're going to work on in the future in terms of getting the word out more to the public. But we feel very comfortable that the band directors were very much aware of our top five. And if I had to poll, I would say the majority of the band directors agree with the process that the number five band is good to number one. And just an unknown history fact about this, the number one band has only won the competition once in all the matchups that we've had. The underdog band has won every other single matchup. So when we say that we feel like the underdog band is just as good, or the the lower rated band, we feel like on any given day, I don't know, number five is Norfolk, I believe, that Norfolk is just as good as A&T. We feel like, as on any given day, Southern is as good as Norfolk State. And that's the beauty of this process, is that once you get to the top, the numbers get you to the top five. After that, it's even. It's all even.
Mr. Grant, did you have something you want to add there?
No, I think that it was all well stated. I mean, the process of this from the beginning is to make sure that we identify a pool of the best bands. And then the committee would do their work beyond just numbers, do their work. And certainly they did a great job of that in dissecting all the aspects of it. As Dr. Oliver said, once they got into the room, the ranking, whether you were 1 through 5, went out the window. That was not even considered. Now it's dissecting a lot of other aspects for them to come to the decision that they did to get, the two that were going to make it. So this process has been designed that way, and we think it works very well to make sure, one, that it's inclusive, but number two, it assures that everyone is working to get into that top tier of bands, which is, once you're in the top five, you're in an elite group.
Okay. Kyle Mosley?
Hey, good evening.
Good evening, Kyle.
Hey, Mr. Grant, how you doing, sir?
Good.
Good. All right. This event, the Band of the Year, has evolved. And in the evolution process, of course, we're working out a lot of wrinkles, right? But what would you want the public to know about what to expect from the 2025 Red Lobster Band of the Year competition?
Well, I'm going to speak from an ESPN perspective, and I'll throw it to the chairs. The goal in even the launch of this I'll call it initiative, or this competition. One, there is nothing like it that exists anywhere. Number two, it gives the student musician athletes, and I'm going to use that term myself, because they work as hard as any player on a football team or a basketball team, and the athleticism involved in not only playing, the work that they do, but playing music while doing it. And doing that at a very high level, Kyle, requires a lot of conditioning and work and expertise in musicianship. So the idea was to put something out there that doesn't exist. And when you're doing something that doesn't exist, you're really bringing people along. And I have something saying that I use, that people don't really know what they want until you give it to them. And that's what we're doing. We're giving people something that they've never had before in a way that they've never seen before. And so we expect the questions. We expect the uncertainty because when you haven't seen it, it looks different. You have a tendency to want to revert back to what you know. But we're going to pull people into something that they don't know. And they're going to be uncomfortable for a while until they become comfortable in recognizing that this is the new standard that is being set.
Thank you,
And I
Kyle.
think, go ahead.
No, if you had something you were finishing up there, Mr. Grant.
No, I think that's what I want people to know from this. You can't rest on what you've known, and what you've known is Battle of the Bands. This is not that. It's not even close to that. And so when you earn the opportunity to get here, which is first, you're earned. It's not an invitation. You have to earn your way in. And then when you get here, someone is going to walk away. Well, let me say this first. Both bands win just by getting here. To get here, both bands are winning. But someone's going to walk away as national champion. And that doesn't happen in any other band competition anywhere in this country.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. Thank you,
Thank
Kyle.
you. Thank you.
We'll go back to Dr. Walker.
Yes. So I'd like to talk, and I guess this question would be for Dr. Oliver and Dr. Taylor. So let's talk about the strength of schedule, because I realize that part of the adjudication process, and I can't remember if it's when they get to the top five or even before that, but strength of schedule is considered. And a lot of times that just sounded, I guess the description uh, looked a little bit nebulous. So could you go into the particulars of how the strength of schedule, what does that mean, and how does that like impact the bands that get chosen?
Well, from my point of view, I'm Dow Taylor, by the way. Sorry for the tardiness. But strength of schedule has to do with um, the time that's required for each band to produce what they do regularly on a weekly basis. And sometimes your schedule will dictate your preparedness, will dictate the level of your preparedness. Uh, if you're playing two, three, four bands, nothing's wrong with that. You perhaps will have a better opportunity at being prepared on a higher level. Whereas some of our bands uh, are changing not only drills, but also changing music on a weekly basis. And that can be very, very demanding. And it says a lot about the programs to be able to pull off that feat. Nothing undermining those who don't have that type schedule, but it is one of the factors that we give minimal attention to.
I totally agree with you, Prof. And being a current band director here at Alabama State University, I'll say this, but it irritates me a lot when the AD will put three games back to back at home. And because we have to do exactly what you said, Prof. Taylor, we got to change the music, change the show, change the drill, because then you got to do it. And you got 1 week to pull that together. So all of that comes together in picking the top fives and all the things that we do, the time consuming. And let's not talk about their schoolwork and all that we throw in there. But all of that is what it takes. And I concur with Prof. Taylor. That's just how we as band directors and what we do, especially when we are not going to do one game here and one game there, when we got three games back to back, while away game is like pleasure for us.
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Let me follow up with a question with regards to especially judging the high school bands. Was there a pool of bands from a particular area, or how exactly did you evaluate bands across the country?
Well, We definitely, actually, we dealt with most of the bands that, if not all of them, that was in the Georgia area, and we actually put those bands together. We adjudicate those bands. We listen to those bands, and we actually treat them just like we treat on the college band. We look at drills, we look at drum majors, because they are our future to the HBC battles of the band, or to the HBC bands. Period. We prepare them. I judged all of them, but I also left comments to those band directors so that they'll know what they need to continue to work on to prepare their students for the college band, because that's the next level. So we just dealt with most of the bands in the Georgia area, which really, really was, I enjoyed it. I'm gonna just put it like that. I enjoyed listening, and I enjoyed adjudicating these guys, because some of these guys were there last year and they came back this year, and everybody has that energy. I want to be in the top five, or I want to be one of the bands. So we just work with one particular area. Now, in the future, we'll probably talk about maybe other bands, high school bands around, but if you look at the number of high school as it is colleges, there's a whole lot of bands. But we just worked with the Georgia area, and it was really, really a lot of fun.
Okay, we'll continue to take questions from the assembled media. We'll go back to you, Kyle Mosley.
Okay. Mr. Grant, one more time. This is about your relationship with the Red Lobster. Talk about that partnership as well as what you would like to see it grow into.
Thank you for that question, Kyle. Very good question. We are very fortunate that we were reached out to last year by Red Lobster, who initially wanted to be involved in the Celebration Bowl. But once we talked to them about the concept of the Band of the Year, they quickly pivoted. They saw it. They got on board with it. They loved the idea. Their CEO was here last year, came to the event, was enamored with what he saw. And so after year one, coming in at the last minute, they signed a multi-year agreement to be the title sponsor of the Red Lobster Band of the Year. So they are a wonderful partner. We've enjoyed working with them. They're committed. They're all in, and they see this as really, Red Lobster has had a long relationship with the African American community in its history, and they see this as restoring, one of the ways of reinvesting and restoring that connection. And I'm just excited because they have a young African American CEO, and so our ability to even just help him in what he's doing through this is inspirational for us as well.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, good evening, John, Dr. O, Dow Tyler. How you guys doing today? So, I feel some type of way because A&T wasn't included. But this is my thing. I understand everything about it. So my question is, like, for next year, possibly, if the number one bands, both divisions, I just think personally they should automatically get a bye to the event. I just think the number one band should automatically get there. If you eliminated the high school bands, because the first year the high school bands wasn't there, and let the committee select the next two bands, you still got six bands, and you have a bigger ballot of bands and more crowd. You got six bands. You know what I'm saying? People like high schools, but we have to be real with this thing. Like, they want to see the college bands. And so, but I get a lot of the backlash from it. You know what I'm saying? Because people like, I support this thing 100%, but I get all the backlash when I'm trying to support it. So that's just my suggestion. Do y'all think that can be kind of looked at, like, for next year?
Well, let me talk about this from an ESPN perspective, and I'll certainly throw it to the chairs. Listen, we also have an opportunity to develop the future, and we have a responsibility to develop the future. And if we have a platform where we can do that, then we must do that. And so the idea of introducing the high school band of the year, because let's talk first, Atlanta is the number one recruiting area for college bands. But if we're not creating a platform for those bands to develop, what is there for them to recruit? into the future. So, Kevin, that's a very good question, but it would be, in my mind, a selfish position for us to only think about us and not think about them. So our commitment is going to be to them, because they, we at one point were them, and so when that you won't see that change. I know that people want something different, but I'll come back to my statement before that people don't really know what they want until you give it to them. We're going to give them the best high school bands, and they're going to love it once they start to see it and experience it and enjoy it as much as they do our HBCU bands as well. So that's my take, but I'll throw it to Don and the chairs to add additional comments to that.
Okay. I'll jump in first. The first year that we did this event was very different from the second year, because after the first year, we listened to the comments from the fans, we got the feedback, and we made adjustments. We feel like this year is going to be incredible. It's going to be better than the second year and the first year, because once again, we listened to the comments, the feedback, and I just remind you that we're just in year three, just in year three. So what we're going to do is every year we're going to evaluate, and as Ms. Grant said, if the opportunity presents itself to go to that next level, that platform, we'll go there. But just give us a little chance to grow, and who knows what the future holds, Kevin.
I just want you to know that your question was very well received. And
You're
don't think
registered.
for one moment
Yeah.
that we have not agonized over that question. And we have discussed it at length. And we've all arrived at the decision that our goal is to continue to get better. We want to get better, and we take the things that are brought to us via social media and the various other outlets, and we look at those things and we evaluate them and say, okay, let's see how we can do this better on next year or next time. And your question is very well
It
received and
is.
understood.
Also, with the high schools, because that's my particular area, and I said earlier, we prepare these guys to be college band students. And that's the reason we have them to be a part of this. They can see firsthand this is what they need to do. This is what they're going to go through. This is what they're going to look forward to. So it is important, as Mr. Grant said, it's important that we have the high schools because they're the ones that's going to build the college bands. So these guys are excited to just be on that platform and knowing that they could be band of the year. And I look at that and say, okay, I need to get to that school and get me about 10 or 12 of those students out of there because they are band of the year. And I know that they will look good or work just as well in my college band.
And can I add one thing,
Good.
Kevin? Our current reigning high school band of the year champion had to withdraw because they were invited to go to London. So they'll be in London representing, and as a band director shared with me, we're going to be wearing our band of the year toboggans in London. And I think that alone reflects what the potential is around this, because this opportunity those kids never would have had. And being band of the year is one of those things, as he said, that helped them get selected for that.
Yeah.
So very good question. We're always going to be evaluating, as they said before.
Just want to put one little carrot on top. Mr. Grant is a visionary. He'll be the first to tell you that he's not, a band person or this type. But he is. He's all encompassed. We're gonna make him official band head. But we first started this, the first rankings before we went to the in-person competition. We only did Division 1 at first. And Mr. Grant was insistent that Division 2 would be a part. And we eventually went from Division 1 to adding Division 2 as a part of the adjudication process. In the first year, the high schools were not a part. We added the high schools in the second year. So my point is, I hope you can see the growth, just a little bit at a time. We're still in the infancy right now. Who knows what the future holds? But we are trying to progress, and be a part of everybody's future and making this thing a big event.
Thank you, Kevin, for that question. We'll go down to Mr. Patterson, Justin Patterson, then Kyle Mosley, then Aaron Fields. Go ahead, Mr. Patterson.
How y'all doing? Justin Patterson from Smash Time Productions. I have a question. I want to know: is there any possible way going forward that we could be like more social media savvy with the field shows that get judged weekly, even if it's just like the Banner of the Year page post a snippet from each field show, so the public can be more keen to seeing, oh, this is why they got that ranking, or this is why, or that field show, just to make them feel a little more involved and get a vision of what you guys see. Because I think as a band influencer, I travel to multiple games a month, and most of the field shows, I'm pretty sure y'all probably either use my page or whoever else page. But I know for sure, like, just to silence the public's opinion, give them just a visionary. And it's something as simple as a snippet on a YouTube Instagram page where you can swipe and be like, to see the show. I think that would be very helpful to the public. So is that idea or something that y'all would, implement going forward?
Well, I certainly think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea because I was so alarmed and shocked at how many people did not see these bands until they were published as rankings. That's when they started to go back and say, well, who are they talking about? Let me go back and take a look. What you've said is let's bring them along with the process.
Yes.
Allow them to see the snippets all along the process. I think it's a great idea.
I do too.
I concur with that.
Okay, cool. I'm fine. That's the next question.
Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you, Mr. Patterson. I appreciate that question. We'll go to Kyle Mosley, then Aaron Fields.
Well, Mr. Patterson took my question, but that was a great question. I have to take offense to a little mild humorous offense. There's some great musicians in Louisiana that I think we know how to step.
Here we go.
But anyway, have you guys ever considered that whoever was the band of the year or one of the contestants, that they can nominate a high school from outside the Atlanta area to be a participant in the band of the year competition or just the showcase?
That's a very good question, Kyle. And it's, babies end up, they're not born walking. We will say again, this is just the third year of the event, the second year of incorporating high schools. I think that anything is possible, and we do have a bigger vision for all of this as we go forward. But I'm talking from the business side of it right now, and that is, we're gonna crawl before we walk, and we're gonna walk before we run, and we're at the stage now where the ideas that you guys bring are things that we receive. We'll store them away as we're on our journey, but don't look for that. I'll say in like the next 1 to 2 years or so. We still have to develop this event, and I want to be clear. And developing it is being developed by people like you all, being on this phone right now, asking the hard questions, giving us a chance to explain it, but then also carrying the message. This won't grow and be what we know it will be overnight, but we are constantly, and I commend the committee for this, because they're constantly pushing the envelope. They ask the right questions. They too sometimes want to run before we can walk, but we also have to know that there's a business side to this, that all of it has to work together. But very good question, Kyle, and I would look for that in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. We'll go to Mr. Fields. And then we have time for maybe one more question. We'll get Miss Monica Fall again. Go ahead, Mr. Fields.
All right. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. This is for really anyone, Dr. Oliver Taylor, Don Roberts, John Grant. With this being year 3, as far as growth, like we can see the growth from adding Division II, the high schools. Has there been any thought, or can you share like any ideas you all may have down the road on expanding the divisions, maybe adding subdivisions, like you had a division two, but maybe expanding the subdivisions, because I've seen people argue about different styles and maybe how they were judged. So, and just as far as the process for the 2025 season, if anyone can share what may have been the hardest aspects of judging the group from this year.
Cheers. Cheers. I defer to you guys first.
Well,
Okay, go ahead.
okay. For me, the whole process of adjudicating these bands was a joy. It was a joy because coming from the culture, coming from the gridiron, I know, or we know what they've gone through. And we enjoy seeing them improve based on the feedback that we give to them, the comments, the recorded comments, the written comments, and the comments across the platform of their show. So this whole process has actually evolved into a situation where the bands, from our point of view, will eventually begin to appreciate the whole scheme of the ESPN Band of the Year process as it relates to adjudication. And we'll hope for that in the future, we can only get better at that. And in terms of the style of bands, uh, that never that never bothered me that much in terms of styles. I've had bands where I've done uh, curvilinear formats. I've done the core style. I've done the DCI. I've done all the expansions, the compressions. I've done all of that. So it boils down to, are your toes pointed? Are you hitting the yard line on the right step? Are you making the right turn? Or are you dealing with alignment correctly? Are you dealing with follow the leader? What about your dynamics? What about your musicality? All that changes. That has nothing to do with style. If you're overblowing and underblowing, that has nothing to do with style. That's just fundamental musicality. And that's what we look at as judges. We don't look at the other stuff. A lot of people saying, well, this style is different, this style, that doesn't really matter. If you're playing a wrong note, if A flat is A flat and a half, is wrong. And that's the way we have to judge it.
And I would say I judged last year. I judged the college bands last year, and it was a pleasure. I totally enjoyed it. And my particular job last year was to actually judge the drum majors. And I gave a lot of good comments, but I enjoyed the entire show
Yeah,
of the different bands.
yeah.
So I didn't just always look at the drum majors. I would look at them, but I glanced at the band and listened to the band and listening for dynamics and all those musicality things that they were. And it was so much fun for me to do it. Uh, Don would send those to us on a Sunday maybe or whatever, and so I thought right on mine. I'm on it because I'm excited. I don't always get a chance to see other bands except for if you. I'm not a YouTube guy. I don't just jump on YouTube and look at bands. But for me to see these bands and to be able to judge these bands and then give some great comments that can help these bands because they were a lot of them were small bands. But I gave good comments on how they could build their program and what the drum majors need to do at that particular time. So I enjoyed it. But let me jump to the high school because that was my job this year. I was a little jealous with the guys that were doing the college band, but I followed my lead. I followed my high school, but to just be able to give those high school band directors some good tips, man, I enjoyed that. And I've been around for a long time doing bands, and I just want to help. I want to help everybody. I want to see all bands do well, especially the high school that are coming into the college life and they getting that college career moving band. But to just have fun, I'm going to say this and I'm going to say it live. I appreciate Mr. Grant. I appreciate Mr. Roberts for just bringing me on, man, because I enjoy every moment when I'm doing this. So I'm going to give my 100% every time I judge.
Right. I just want to add one thing in terms of the difficulty. Now, I did not have a vote in the final selection of the bands, but to watch the committee for running about 2 hours, the difficult decisions they had to make and how they evaluated every single band fairly, but knowing at the end of the meeting that there were going to be some bands that were in pain, because of the decisions that were made. I would look at that as one of the most difficult moments that I've witnessed personally, because, again, the judges are still people. They're still people and they have emotions. But they knew after the meeting was over, some people were going to be happy, some were going to be sad. But in the end, everybody's character and integrity was in place because they felt like they had done it the right way.
And the good thing about that, just to add on, in that once they get to that top five pool, it would have been the same emotional reaction no matter what two bands were chosen. The same emotional, it could have been the bottom two. It doesn't matter. They were still just that close in scoring that we would have felt good about either one of them.
Absolutely. And the committee made that final decision and we made it together. We didn't make it one by one. We made it all together. And that's what made it work for us.
Thank you for that question, Mr. Parks. We'll conclude tonight's question and answer question with Ms. Monica Fogg. Ms. Fogg, if you please unmute and turn your camera on. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Great conversation tonight. And again, thank you all for the opportunity to come and get some more insight. I am Monica Fogg, the music coordinator at the Cobb County School District, and believe in the ESPN Band of the Year. So excited about the opportunity to highlight our HBCU schools. And of course, we have a lot of our former DeKalb students participating with all of the bands every year. And so my thing, just want to make sure that we continue long-term and just to see how you all are as far as a community or a committee. How important is long-term credibility? Because each year there's always a question about the picking of the judge, and listening to this conversation, the public would be able to benefit from that. As a music educator, I'm not always about what the audience thinks about the performance, but I am, I love the competition style of the bands being evaluated, and it's not just about the bands. However, we want them to understand the validity behind it and the credibility behind it, because I've seen some comments that are not recognizing that, even though we have some of the biggest giants in the field on the committee. And so I just wanted to know, just so you can have long-term value of the ESPN Band of the Year, so they can continue and expand, and that we are not just on TV, but even having every seat in the audience fills the capacity. So what is your vision behind that for establishing long-term credibility with the event?
Well, let me say ESPN doesn't enter into anything, especially something like this, with a short-term view. What we look at it as, myself personally, and we present to our group, and I talk to Don Roberts a lot, as he will say to you, I am not a band person. I'm the first one to tell you that I am not. I've learned a lot about bands, more than I thought that I would ever know. And that is a tribute to being a part of this. So there is a commitment, but that commitment has to be with all of us. It can't just be ESPN, Red Lobster, and just a few. It has to be something where we all, as a community, look at it and say, you know what, we have an opportunity to create something here. There's no expectation that we will always agree on everything. We won't. But if we can just agree on one thing, that this thing that we have is a good thing for all of us, then we can work our way through the things that we don't necessarily agree on or that we need to modify. And I think the committee said it well. They have the hard work. My job is to make sure that they have all the tools they need to get the job done and that the resources are there for this. I'll give you one fact. we've only done this now. This is going into year 3. Do you know that ESPN has paid out nearly $1.1 million? Let me repeat that: $1.1 million directly to HBCU marching bands in just 2 years. I want to know where in the world or where in this country marching bands go and have that kind of resource. It's not like, and I'm emphasized when I say this, you don't have to raise money to go to the Rose Bowl to come back with your pockets empty. You don't have to raise money to go to the Macy's Day Parade to come back with your pockets empty. The idea here and why it was created was a platform for bands to be able to get into where they can get compensated. It's not about whether you win or lose. If you make it, you're getting paid. Now, our goal is that we want that to go deep. I won't say when it'll happen, but we have shared a vision. I'll share it with you that if you get to the top 5, the top 5 should all get paid. And that's where we're trying to go. Are we there yet? No. Is it part of our goal? Yes. And my final point in this is you're going to see, and I thank the committee for this again, because they highlighted the fact that, you know what, we should give recognition to the top people in categories. We should give recognition, and you're going to see that happen this year at this year's Band of the Year. We should give recognition to the most improved band, that band that had the most improvement year over year, and I commend them for that. I'm not going to tell you who they are now, but they'll be announced at this year's Band of the Year based on the work from the committee. So adding then another layer of recognition to those bands and those band directors and those band students that have worked hard to improve in specific areas. So we don't plan on going anywhere, but we want to make sure that you help us not plan on going anywhere either. So thank you for that question. It was a great question.
Thank you, Ms. Fogg. We're going to turn it over to Mr. Grant now for any closing remarks.
Well, I want to thank you guys again for being here tonight. And I think our best closing remarks, Charles, thank you for that. But I think our best closing remarks are going to come from the people that actually are in there doing the hard work and making the hard decisions, but also giving valuable feedback to our band directors and our band programs. We are seeing these band programs improve. And my final word is, I used to go, and I go to various football games today, and I used to go just to watch the game. Now I go with a dual purpose. I told Kevin Petit when I saw him up in Durham at the CIAA that I'm there now watching the football team, and I'm watching the bands just as hard as I am them. And that is a joy for me. And that's what this process has done. So, I'll turn over to our chairs and let them have the final word, because I do want to make sure that, everyone recognizes them and to Don Roberts. These people are true. I mean, they are true stalwarts of the band community. I mean, they are the legends that you have in this community. And so, if you talk about Hall of Famers, you talk about all world people, I don't think we could have anyone better in our committees than the gentleman that you have, or the gentlemen and ladies that are on that committee, but the gentleman here that provide the leadership for it. So I'll throw it to Professor Taylor, Dr. Oliver, and then Don Roberts.
Well, I just like to close by saying it has truly been an honor to be a part of this entire platform. And for me, having been in the field, intimately involved with band, this has been a labor of love. And to see the improvement from year one to now has been actually overwhelming to me. And I'm anxious to see what the future will bring.
I want to say, and I want to congratulate ESPN, Red Lobster, Battle of the Band for the year, just allowing me to be a part of this. I am so grateful because at some point in time, I'm going to be just like Prof. Taylor, I'm going to be retired. And if I can continue to do this and work with band, what a lovely gift that God has given me to continue to be a part of these young people's lives. So I thank ESPN Red Lobster Band of the Year, rather, just bringing me on and allowing me to be a part with these guys. You know, I it's just it's mind taking sometimes when I sit here and I say, wow, I'm still involved. I'm still involved. And so thank you all. Thank you so much. And I'll just send it over to Don because
All right.
he's my man.
All right. Okay, guys, I'll be brief. First of all, I just want to thank Mr. Grant and ESPN. Mr. Grant is a tough businessman, but he listens. He listens. This press conference is a perfect example. We were protecting our judges that first year. We were keeping it secret. We didn't want because Kevin Poteet in the uncut, the band heads. We wanted to make sure that before we could put the word out on everything that we got this thing right. So we kind of protected the identity of the judges for a long time. But we heard you guys when you said we want to know who the judges are, and we became more transparent. And one of those things for transparency is this press conference. And Mr. Grant, we talked about it, and he said let's get closer to them. Let's give them an environment where they can ask us questions and talk to us and give us immediate feedback. So this regular press conference that we have, or this is a regular thing because we want to get the message out to you guys. Another thing that he's listened on is that, like he said, the categories. Without giving who you are, we're going to have best overall percussion, best overall auxiliaries, best drill and design. It's growth. We in that point, most improved. This, again, a lot of things we threw at him, he threw something right back at us. Said not this year, but he listens, and we're getting to that point. So thank you, Mr. Grant, for that. The chairs, such an honor to work with these guys. Can you imagine being on the telephone as a band director or a band head with Dow Taylor, Julian White, James Oliver, the head band director at University of Texas, the head band director at Ohio State, Penn State, Ball State University, all at one time. It's a unreal thing. So he spares no expense in terms of who we need to get. Dr. Hawk at Ohio State, and I close with this. Mr. Grant, I said, I think we need to go out and get one of the best drill writers for our directors so they can learn from. He said, who is that? I said, it's the band at Ohio State. They go viral every year. He said, find him. That's it. Not how much it would cost. Find him, go get him, and add him to this committee. So I think I can say this in year 3. Our rankings are the only rankings that matter to the band directors. They might not tell you that, but our rankings are the only ones that matter. Out of all the 25, 50 that are out there, this is the only one that matters to the band directors. I guarantee it. So with that, Mr. Grant, I'm done.
Thank you, guys. And
Sure thing.
let me say one thing, guys. Don't ever stop. You're the media. So we want you to make sure that you are holding us accountable, holding our feet to the fire, asking the questions that you've asked here tonight. It does nothing but help us get better. And that's what we are intending to do, and to make sure that we are delivering, a world-class, second to none experience to our people. Now, so we have no intention of slowing down, because that way we'll get caught, and we'll, there are footsteps behind us. So just keep asking the hard questions, keep pushing it out there. Whether we don't have to agree, but just put it out there, and we love hearing from you and help us get better. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. I appreciate you, Mr. Roberts, Professor Taylor, Dr. Oliver, and most of all, thank you to the assembled media for coming into this press conference. The Red Lobster Band of the Year Band Directors Press Conference will be next week, Thursday, December 11th at 4 p.m. at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in the media room. So thank you. Thank you for coming in tonight. And with that, we'll conclude tonight's press conference.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year, a title reserved for elite HBCU marching bands. A season-long competition that culminates in Atlanta on Friday, December 12th. Drum majors, percussion, drill, auxiliaries, musicality. All aspects will be examined by the toughest judges in the world of college bands. 4 will qualify for the big stage, where national champions will be crowned. Follow us on social media for rankings updates throughout the season. And join us in Atlanta on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.